Hello, everybody, and welcome to Next Point Wins. I am your host, Matthew Julie. Thank you for coming on in. Take off your shoes and stay a while. We have a full hour of fun planned for you today. Lots of talk about the Super Bowl. Big game coming up here on Sunday. I'll give you everything you need to know in this next hour to where you don't have to spend 6 hours on Sunday watching pre-game shows. You don't have to spend all weekend getting every single little bit you need. I'll give you the Spark Notes version of everything that you must know before the big game. That way, when you go to your Super Bowl party, you can sound like a genius and don't have to worry about looking into the ins and outs, the analytics. No, we're throwing all that out the window, and we're sticking to just nothing but hardcore sports and the stuff that matters leading up to the big game. We're also going to have some recap of Purdue men's basketball after their nice win at IU on Sunday, and also we'll preview the game tonight here in Mackey Arena at 8:30, I think is the start time. Yeah, 8:30, about 8:45. Purdue basketball taking on Maryland tonight in Mackey Arena. So we'll have plenty more on that coming up in the show. And plus, I am happy to announce we have a special guest on the show today. The Godfather will be calling in from Las Vegas. He's going to be sitting poolside. He's out there soaking up the sun. He's going to give us all the ins and outs of gambling in Vegas and all the things you know before the big day on Sunday so you can get all your bets in. And if you're like me and you don't gamble and it's just for entertainment purposes, well, that's going to be just that. We'll have plenty more, and we'll catch up with the Godfather coming up just in a little bit. But before we get into any of that, let's talk about the newest news in the NFL. Alex Smith, former quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, he's been traded to the Redskins, and I guess that spells the end of Kirk Cousins in Washington. And it makes me wonder, is that an upgrade? Is that an upgrade for the Washington Redskins? And then on the other side of it, Kansas City, I guess you're all in on Patrick Mahomes, the sophomore quarterback, I guess now you could say, but he didn't get any playing time his rookie year. So really it's his first year with the team, and he's going to get the reins. He's going to get the driver's seat of the operation. It'll be interesting to see how he does. And when I look at Alex Smith and I compare him to a Kirk Cousins, I think he's a better quarterback. I don't know if you get a whole lot of a different quarterback, though, when he goes to Washington than you had. And if you're Alex Smith, are you gaining any weapons going to Washington? I mean, you look at Kansas City, and we didn't think they had many weapons, but then you look closer, and you're like, okay, you have Travis Kelce. He's a top 5 tight end in the NFL. You have Kareem Hunt, who was a breakout running back this past year. So unless he has a sophomore slump, you have to think that he is locked and loaded for another big year. Tyreek Hill, one of the speedsters in the NFL, a playmaker. I'm not sure you'd call him a big wide receiver target, but he makes plays for you. And you look at Washington, it's okay. Tight end, I got Jordan Reed if he's healthy. I have Crowder, Terrell Pryor Sr. So, I mean, are either situations great as a quarterback if you're Alex Smith? No. I mean, could be better. But you know, it's a fresh start, and you're going to a franchise that wants you. And it's crazy because he had no say in this. I was watching his interview on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday. He was an in-studio guest, and, you know, Dan was throwing out a bunch of teams, Browns, Cardinals, even maybe the Bengals, depending on what they do with Andy Dalton. And, you know, he was just kind of like, he was pretty against the Cleveland Browns. But other than that, he was just kind of like, I don't really get to make the call here, so I'm going to make the best out of the situation. I'm not sure any of us saw Washington as a possible destination for him. So then it now becomes, okay, where does Kirk Cousins go? Does he go to Cleveland? Does he go to Arizona? Does he go to Denver? Does he go to the Jets? I mean, these are all teams looking for a quarterback, and somebody's going to say, I don't want to take the risk on a rookie in the first round. I'm going to take Kirk Cousins. My prediction, I would narrow it down to the Jets or the Broncos, with probably the Jets as the leader in the clubhouse. He's going to get paid. Jets have the money to spend it, and do they really want to go back and try in that draft again after they've missed on so many quarterbacks in a row? I mean, you look at the Jets team, Geno Smith, Hackenberg. I mean, their most recent, Ryan Fitzpatrick, their most recent good quarterback was Mark Sanchez, and was he really even that good? He had a couple decent years, but was he ever good? No, Probably not. I wouldn't consider him good. So if you're the Jets, you got to get a quarterback. You got to get a quarterback that I think is proven. I don't think you can take another chance and go to the draft. I don't think there's a quarterback in this draft that's worth taking that shot on if you're the Jets. So they're probably my leaders in the clubhouse to get Kirk Cousins. So that's a little bit of news. I was very surprised when I saw that break last night. You know, I thought that Alex Smith would get moved, obviously. I knew they were going to go with Mahomes, but I just didn't see the Redskins as a player in that game. And if you're Alex Smith, who's going to be your coach? I mean, how many more years does Gruden get before he gets fired unless they can turn it around? I mean, you have to imagine that this has got to be a pretty successful season in Washington if you're going to keep Gruden around. Very interesting. Hopefully, I mean, Kirk Cousins always put up numbers there, so it's not like Alex Smith's not going to go in and put up some numbers. I think it's just a matter of, do those numbers translate into wins? I mean, is the team good enough to get those wins? Only time will tell. So, if you're just joining us, welcome to Next Point Wins. If you want to contact the show, you can. Go to nextptwins@gmail.com. That's where you'll find my email. And that's where you can write in your comments, questions, send me topics, whatever you'd like to hear on the show. I've kind of mixed and matched some of the stuff you guys want to talk about as far as Super Bowl goes. And thanks for everybody who sent in their pictures and tweeted their pictures at me of their watch party for the Purdue-IU game on Sunday. Looks like everybody had some fun. Saw a lot of wings, a lot of beer. Always two go-tos when it comes to big games. So, yeah, if you want to contact me, you can there. And if you want to send anything to my Twitter, you can do that, Matt_Gigli, Gigli. That's also where you can, that Matt_Gigli, that's my username to my Instagram. You can follow me there. Always post links to the podcast. And speaking of the podcast, if you ever miss any part of the show, if you can't catch the full hour, if you've missed any shows in the past, go to my YouTube page, Next Point Wins. You can subscribe there for free. That's where you'll find the archives. Every episode we've done of the show. This is season 3 of the show. Every episode we've ever done, every interview we've ever had, you can find it up there on YouTube. And if you want to find the most recent episode, those always get updated one at a time. And that's on my SoundCloud page. Once again, Next Point Wins. But yeah, Matt_Gigli. That's where you can find my Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. You'll find show content and Purdue sports content throughout the week on all 3 of those sites. So that gets all that out of the way. So now that we got through the nuts and bolts of the show, I want to talk about the Super Bowl. First off, let's go into the injury report because there's a couple noticeable injuries to point out. Both these guys, I have a 100% feeling they're going to play. Tom Brady's still nursing that hand. He's worn a glove all week to any interview or press conference he's done. I think part of that's just him being a troll now. But he said it's getting better. Not 100% yet. Of course, not your Tom Brady. You got to have a little motivation, a little #warrior status. So the hand's probably not going to be 100% before the game. Even if it is, you don't tell anybody that because, well, you can use that as a crutch if you don't do well. And if you do well, just shows how great you are. And then also on the Patriots, Rob Gronkowski. Gronk says he's still on concussion protocol, but he's very confident he will play. And I'm also very confident he will play in this game. 2 weeks to recover from a concussion normally is plenty of time for these athletes. You got to go through the steps. There's like a 5-step process once you get cleared that you have to get through before you are cleared, ready to play. And I know he started the protocol, so that's a huge step. I don't think you really need him to practice. Really, you don't even need Brady to practice. Maybe a tune-up on Saturday, but, I mean, these guys are veterans, and in a way, practice becomes a little overrated. So, yeah, there's a couple injuries. On the Eagles side, I haven't heard much, really. I think everybody's pretty healthy given their situation. And for the Eagles, when I look at this game, if you want to break it down the most simple way possible, I think this game comes down to the Eagles' defense and trying to hold Tom Brady under 28 points. I think that if you're the Eagles, if you ask an Eagles fan, Tom Brady scored 17 points in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady scored 24 points in the Super Bowl. How do you guys think you did? I think they'd be thrilled. if you kept the Patriots under 28, I think Eagles fans would be thrilled. Because on the other side, I'm not confident in saying Nick Foles can put up more than 28 points on the board in the Super Bowl. I think you need the score to be around 17-21. That's around the Patriots scoring if you want to have a shot to win this, because he's played great. Don't get me wrong. He's put up huge numbers in the playoffs. He's played really well. I just think it's going to come to an end. I think the magic is going to wear out at some point in this game. Maybe it's late enough or early enough and he refines it, or maybe Jay Ajayi in the running game carries him through. But it's such a big stage, and he's just, percentages show that he's due for a bad game. I hope not, because for the sake of it being a watchable game and a competitive game, you need him to play really well to have a shot. So, in order for that Eagles defense to keep Brady under 28 points, it comes down to one thing, and that's getting off the field on third down. And that can't be stressed enough when you talk about defenses against really, really good, against great quarterbacks, against your Drew Brees, your Aaron Rodgers, your Tom Brady. It's all about getting off the field on third down. And why these quarterbacks are so good is because they're so good on third down and getting themselves in manageable third down situations where you're in your 3rd and 4s, your 3rd and 5s, even your 3rd and 6s. Anything 3rd and 6 and shorter, I consider manageable for these great quarterbacks. And if you're a defense, you can get them in those 3rd and longs and get off the field. You have a shot. And then the other part of that is once you get them off the field, your offense has got to put drives together against these quarterbacks. You've got to be able to move the ball and eat up clock, because not only are you giving your defense a break, but you're keeping Tom Brady off the field. And those are the two most important things in this game. Defense gets rested, Brady gets off the field. Because if your defense is playing well, but they're out there a ton, you see in those 3rd, 4th quarters how the Patriots pull away from people, how the Patriots come back, how the Patriots win really close football games. It's because the defense on the other side is exhausted, and Brady has had multiple times, multiple reps throughout the game to find out what works, and between him and Belichick, they pick you apart, and they make you look like you're not even out there late in games. Now, it's harder for a quarterback and a coach of their caliber to do that when they're not on the field that much and when the defense isn't tired. Now, to the Eagles' strength, they can go 6 deep on that D-line. That's huge. That's a start. You're rotating guys in and out. Look for the Patriots to be up-tempo, no huddle, quick moving, quick snaps, getting as many plays in as possible, because all that does is, first off, it keeps you from substituting if you can keep your same offense on the field, and it just adds to that play count. It adds to those reps that you see come back to bite a defense late in games, because you got all those reps as an offense and you feel confident, you know what works, you're having success, and it makes all the difference. When the defense gets off the field, Nick Foles and that offense has got to move the ball. Quality drives. Not every quality drive ends in points. Not every quality drive ends in a touchdown. I'm talking 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 play drives ending in points are huge. But you got to be able to get some first downs and not have any 3 and outs. Because a 3 and out is just such a quick turnover for a defense and gets Brady back on the field. Now, given they get the extended halftime, that plays to the Eagles' favor. You get extended commercial times. You get more stops in the game. All that plays to the Eagles' defense's favor. If you can keep Brady out of sync, you have a shot. If you let Brady do what he does so good and just play within the game, you have a very, very slim chance of winning this game. And I know that might seem like a surprise, but it's so true. You can't stay, and I said this last week, and I really do mean it. You can't be afraid to adjust in the game if you're the Eagles. You can't be afraid to change things up, to throw out new looks, to take risks. You have to take risks. 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s within the 40, about like your 40 to their 40-yard line. In that area, you've got to be able to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and inches. you can't play scared because he always gets the last laugh. And by he, I mean Belichick and Brady. They both always get the last laugh because teams play scared and teams refuse to take chances. It'll be interesting to see how they do. I'm looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. People are calling it to be very close. I'll give you my pick on who I think is going to win at the end of the show, as well as I mentioned at the top of the hour, we're going to have the Godfather on live from Vegas, poolside. Talked to him yesterday. He's out there enjoying the 75-degree weather, enjoying all the sights and sounds of the Strip. We'll get his take on what he considers to be the biggest in the money that comes in shows. It's the biggest gambling game and day of the year. So he'll have all the ins and outs on where to look, what each thing means. I mean, I know some of you students out there, I know a lot of you like to go on to Vegas. I know that's a big destination spot for spring break, especially your senior year. And as soon as school ends for your summer break, I know it's a huge landing spot for a lot of Purdue upperclassmen here on campus to go to for a vacation. So we sat down with him. We talked about just a whole assortment of things. We'll have that coming up here. We'll play that about 12:30. I want to get in on sportsmanlike conduct beforehand, and then we'll make way for him. So before I even get into sportsmanlike conduct, though, I just want to maybe give you guys a chance to contact me here. Leading up to Sunday, I want to see where you're watching the game. We're going to do kind of the same thing we did last week because I got a lot of really good responses. I also want to know what your spread is because if I know anything, Super Bowl is fun, but whatever your spread is even more important. So I want to know what we're making, what kind of dips we're having. We carrying out wings? We grilling wings? We baking wings? We frying wings? What are we doing? Are we doing wings? Well, I sure hope so. What else we got? We got some meatballs going. Looks like those cocktail weenies with the meatballs and stuff. Man, I love that. What are we having? I should see no salads. And let's all be honest with each other. And if you're hosting a party and you're like bring something, don't be the guy that brings the veggie dip, the veggies and the dip that I don't even know what the dip is. I've never even tried it. You know, like the celery and the carrots and the cauliflower. Don't be that guy. It goes to waste. Nobody eats it. Nobody wants to eat it. And if it's there, somebody might eat it out of pity because they feel bad because no one's eating what you brought. Don't be that guy. I'd rather be chip guy. Bring a bag of chips. Don't bring the veggie tray. Nobody likes the veggie tray. And if you like the veggie tray, I'm not judging, but if you're bringing it because you know so-and-so likes the veggie tray, so-and-so should probably not be invited to your Super Bowl watch party. Also, what are we drinking? What's the drinks of choice? I mean, it's a Sunday. I get that. So don't be afraid to go out and make your run early if you got to go get some adult beverages or whatever need be. So, yeah. So tweet them at me. You can DM me on Instagram, DM me on Twitter, send them to my Twitter. I'll retweet anything that I receive on there. Or you can also email me any photos. Love to see what we got going. Maybe even if it's the whole process, like the before and after. I like to see how it gets made, so don't be afraid to throw it around. And if you got any good recipes that you need shared with the audience that you're like, this needs to be made on your Super Bowl Sunday, you can send those my way, and I'll be sure to get them out. Let's help each other. People helping people. That's what we're about around here. All right, let's get into unsportsmanlike conduct because I want to get to the Godfather. I know he's waiting poolside for us, but beforehand, we're changing up unsportsmanlike conduct this week. I'm going to do one unsportsmanlike conduct that truly is an unsportsmanlike conduct, and then my other two, and this is breaking news. This is never before accomplished. This is the first time. We're going to give it a test run. I'm going to give you a couple unsportsmanlike conducts in advance. So I'm going to give you some things that will keep you from committing an unsportsmanlike conduct. This is not stuff that's happened. Well, it's happened to me, not recently, but I've seen it before. So we're just going to give you an opportunity to learn something on the show and to be able to avoid these mistakes come Super Bowl Sunday for unsportsmanlike conduct. Here we go.
And now, an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Personal foul, number 15, unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's a horrible call!
All right, we'll do the real unsportsmanlike conduct first, and then we'll move to the avoidance of unsportsmanlike conduct. So my real unsportsmanlike conduct, I have two of them. First one, I saw this article this morning. Eagles players are having trouble getting dinner reservations in Minnesota. A lot of different reasons why that could be happening. One being there's a ton of people in Minnesota right now. It's a big destination spot. Everybody's filing in for the Super Bowl. Hotels are booked up everywhere. Restaurants, reservations. But, I mean, you're the Eagles. You're playing in the game. Getting food shouldn't be a problem. You think you'd be able to drop your name or have somebody, one of your PR or SIDs, drop your name and be able to get you a spot anywhere you'd want in the city. Well, that's not been the case. And one of the theories is this is a little retaliation from some Minnesota Viking fans, some restaurant owners who are a little bitter that their team lost to the Eagles the week before and not playing in the Super Bowl. So Eagles players are starting to wonder a little bit if they're getting a little backlash for knocking off the Vikings last 2 weeks ago. Unsportsmanlike conduct, to you bitter Vikings fans, let these guys eat. Come on. There's one. Number two, and this one's funny. This is a 3-part unsportsmanlike conduct, and I have some audio to go along with it, courtesy of Barstool Sports. I've talked about Barstool Sports a couple times on this show. I think they're genius. I think what they're doing is going to change media. Is it going to change it for the better? I don't know. And the next step, I think, for Barstool Sports is going to be, can they take their content and make it reliable? Because right now, if you're not familiar with Barstool Sports, it started... I don't know what city it first started. I know I think they're pretty much based in New York City, but basically it's grown to the point where like each university, like colleges, regions of the United States have these Barstool Sports accounts. Like we have a Barstool Purdue, there's a Barstool IU, there's a Barstool IPFW, there's a Barstool. I mean everywhere. And then there's the Barstool Sports. So all these, I will call them like mini satellites of the main company, and they're run by, I mean, some of these, I don't know who runs the Purdue one, but I'm pretty sure it's just a student. I don't know if they get paid. I don't know how any of that works. If you're listening and you run the Barstool account here at Purdue, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to have you in to talk about how you got involved. And if you're listening and you know who it is, or if you know who they are, it might be more than one person. I don't know. Feel free to shoot me an email. Any contact information you might have, because I would really like to. I'm very interested and curious. I think that what they do is good. I think it's funny. I think a lot of it's entertaining. I think it's changing the way we get our media. That being said, it also sometimes is inappropriate. Sometimes it's over the top. Sometimes it offends people. They don't care if they offend people. That's the thing. And I'm not saying that's wrong in a day and age where everybody's offended by everything. Or I mean, you can say, I mean, I'm sure I've probably offended 4 people since we started, and we're 24 minutes in, at least 4 people. So, like, even when you don't mean to, you're offending people. That being said, they're popular. They're growing. Well, they also fight with people. And one major person they've been fighting with, besides ESPN, has been the NFL, and more specifically, Roger Goodell. They've had this feud with Roger Goodell for years. At least, I mean, it's really ramped up this year, but it's been going on for a while now. And they go back and forth, NFL taking some of their things and using them on their site, and then Barstool doing the same thing back and forth. They don't like each other. Well, Roger Goodell and the NFL tried to punish Barstool Sports by not getting them a credential to the big media day that happened on Monday. This is the media day where, like, they're inside. They might be inside the stadium that they're playing the game in, but it's a huge place. I mean, everybody and anybody has a credential. Every player is available. Coaches, you can walk up and you can get really close and talk to these players and coaches. I mean, for example, somebody who got a credential, that Guillermo who does Jimmy Kimmel Live, the little guy who he's like Jimmy's sidekick. He gets a credential every year, and he goes in there and kind of messes around with the players and media and stuff. I mean, it just goes to show you don't have to be like an A-list media personality to get into this event. I mean, everybody, anybody. To be honest, I could probably qualify to get a credential for it, and I'm dead serious. So yeah, that being said, They got denied a credential to this media day. So the president of the company did what any good journalist would do. He made up a fake name, part of a fake media outlet, and got himself a fake credential. And he and his cameraman went around and did their journalistic due diligence, interviewing people. And I have clips of a few of their interviews, and they're hysterical. The president, his name's Dave Portnoy, and here's him interviewing Bill Belichick.
Are working hard to do a good job at their job. So collectively as a team, we just want to go out there and play well and win on Sunday. You're welcome.
Bill,
Thank you.
I almost passed out at your fashion get off the plane today. Looked absolutely spectacular. Al Capone, Vince Lombardi, how would you describe that look with the fedora?
My dad's hat.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Coach, can you talk about...
It's Bill's dad's hat. That's his response, my dad's hat. Bill Belichick is so funny to me. I think he's hysterical. I'm going to play that one more time. Because, I was literally crying. I was laughing so hard at this.
We're working hard to do a
Just
good
fast
job
forward
at
a
their
little
Get
bit.
off the plane today. Looked absolutely spectacular. Al Capone, Vince Lombardi, how would you describe that look with the fedora?
My dad's hat.
Loved it.
Thanks, Bill. My dad's hat. Good response. Thank you. All right, here's Portnoy talking to Matt Patricia, soon going to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions as soon as the season's over. It's not official, but it's pretty much known. Obviously, he can't leave the team until the Super Bowl's over, but we expect him to join the Detroit Lions as their head coach. And Dave Portnoy, president of Barstool Sports, sat down with Patricia. Here he is.
All right. Don't shave.
No, we're good.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Matt, question for you here.
you doing?
First of all, I love the pencil. Always pencil guy. Second favorite team. Never had second favorite team. It's the Lions. Now I know you're not looking forward to. A lot of people said, and I don't want to we had nothing to do with it. They said Matt Patricia will not get a head coaching job because he wore a certain turquoise shirt off a plane. I said, nope, won't affect him. Thoughts on that?
My thoughts are definitely on Philadelphia. It's all about Philly. They have an extremely good offense, and I've got a lot of issues I got to try to prepare for to win.
Also, and I'm focused on Philly as well, Detroit Dawn and Superfan, two of the biggest Detroit Lion fans of all time. They have season tickets. They live and die. They're lucky. We're gonna connect to you guys after this game, after we win this game, all right?
I'm just Philly all the way.
All right. And we got to do a pizza review, by the way, before
Yeah,
we leave town.
I love pizza.
I know you do. All right, good luck.
Thank
Congrats,
you so much.
by the way.
Thank you.
So Portnoy does this segment where he goes around and he tries different pizza around New York City, or now he's doing them in Minnesota because that's where he's at, and he tries to find the best pizza ever made. So that was the kicker there. And then the part about the pencil, if you watch the video, you can see it on Barstool Sports, their Twitter page or website. Patricia's got a pencil in his ear, and Portnoy points out that he's a big pencil in the ear guy, loves it. But anyways, yeah, Matt Patricia, he's focused on the Eagles. All right, here's the next one. Sat down with James Harrison. James Harrison, former Pittsburgh Steelers icon, played there for many years. If you remember the story, he got traded, or I think he was released. I don't know how the transaction happened, but he's now on the Patriots. It was a midseason switch. And so here's Portnoy talking to James Harrison about Pittsburgh.
James, you think real Steeler fans should root for the Patriots? Because you think the real Steeler fans should root for the Patriots to support you?
I think real Steeler fans should root for whoever they want to.
But you're an icon, and the way what they did to you, the way they ran you out was sad.
That don't matter. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and they can root for whoever they want.
Okay, cool. I think Steeler fans should root for the Pats because of you, but that's my opinion. For real. For real.
Cool.
If they were real fans, that's what they do.
Cool.
Any party.
So there is James Harrison. All right, we got one more here. Last one. So he sat down with Danny Amendola. And if you're familiar with Danny Amendola, he is currently dating, I'm not going to remember her name. 1 second. I think it's Culpa. Or maybe it's his wife. Yeah, it is his wife. Oh, no, girlfriend, Olivia Culpo. Very attractive young lady. He's currently dating her. And so Portnoy wanted to ask him why. I guess he's been trying to get her on his show, but she won't respond to him. So, as any good journalist would do, if you can't get a hold of the girlfriend, well, you talk to the boyfriend. So here's Portnoy asking Amendola about it.
First time with you, so I don't know.
Question for you. We're trying to get a interview with one Miss Olivia Copo.
Yeah.
This week we've been hitting her up. Can't get a word in. Any way you can help with that?
Yeah.
She's ignoring us.
I think you can follow her Instagram
I do.
page and or log into her website. I'm sure she's got some connection.
No good advice.
I'll hit her up for you.
All right.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Thanks.
That was nice of Danny. He said he'll hit her up for him. It's funny because if you watch these videos, the looks on these players' faces, I mean, they're all smiling because they know who he is and who he represents. And the fact that his credential just says nothing about it. And the unsportsmanlike conduct goes to Roger Goodell because by taking away their credentials, you're playing into their game. That's exactly what they want. They want you to take away, they want you to make them feel like the underdog. If you just give them their credential like any other media member, they couldn't go around and have fun like this. They'd actually be serious and ask serious questions because they're representing their company. But instead, you don't do that. You don't give them a credential. They still find a way to sneak in, and look what happens. They go around, and I'm surprised that he didn't get kicked out. I'm sure everybody recognized him. It's just hilarious. Go and watch those videos on your own time. It's really good. Okay, so there's unsportsmanlike conduct to Roger Goodell. So to recap, unsportsmanlike conduct goes to Roger Goodell. Unsportsmanlike conduct to Vikings fans for still being bitter about that loss. Here's my last two, and these are previews of unsportsmanlike conducts that are going to happen at your Super Bowl parties, and you can call the person out as soon as it happens, and it's also to help you so you don't become that guy. First one, and this one I'm very passionate about. Don't be the guy or girl that talks your ear off during the game, just constantly talking about whatever, maybe not even Super Bowl related, maybe not even about the game, just talking. Just nonstop talking, and then when it goes to commercials, he tries to shush the crowd so he can watch and hear the commercials. Do not be that person. That person is the Satan of a Super Bowl party. That person is the worst person on the planet. You can be excited about the commercials. You can inside, I mean, if you like the Super Bowl commercials, that's fine. I think in general everybody has a decent amount of interest in the Super Bowl commercials, and that's perfectly okay. But if you like it more than the game itself, keep it to yourself. Because first off, nobody wants to hear you talk constantly during the game, and secondly, no one wants to be shushed. And I can picture the guy. He's trying to get the remote to turn it up. He's shushing the crowd like, guys, quiet, commercials are on. No, not okay. It's wrong. Unsportsmanlike conduct to you in advance. Don't let it happen. Stick up for yourself. Stick up for the crowd. Put the guy in his place. Let him know. You can even play him back this sound bit right here because I know it's going to happen. Play it back for him. I don't mind telling him, telling her, telling whoever it is. Keep it to yourself if you like the commercials more than the game. It's about the game. Without the game, there are no commercials. And by the way, most of the commercials are overrated anyways. You'll get 2 or 3 that are decent at best. Give me a break. Number 2, unsportsmanlike conducts to avoid. Don't immediately criticize the halftime show after it's over. And definitely don't do it during the show because nobody wants to hear it. We all have high hopes for Justin Timberlake. We always have high hopes for every act. We always are curious on who he's going to bring out. I know it's reported he's going to bring out Chris Stapleton, but it's impossible for these halftime performers to live up to what we built up in our head as the perfect halftime show. It's impossible. It's probably going to be pretty good. It's probably going to be respectable. So let it be that. Don't be the guy that's like, oh, that was horrible, or in the middle like, this is horrible, I hate this music, And don't go to Twitter and tell everybody about it. We don't care. Nobody cares what you think about it. Nobody. Keep it to yourself. You're not a movie critic. You're not a music critic. You're not a halftime show critic. You're not a concert critic. And if you are, well, you can give your professional opinion. If you're not, keep it to yourself. Because no one likes to hear somebody whine. And, like the first one, if you come across a situation, let them know. Call them out. Or play this clip back and be like, dude, no one cares that you didn't like the halftime show. Nobody. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it. Those are my unsportsmanlike conduct and my upcoming unsportsmanlike conducts. Go ahead and message me if this happens to you, because I know it's going to. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Now, an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Personal foul, number 15, unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's a horrible call!
All right, so those are our unsportsmanlike conducts. Now, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. I sure know I'm excited about it. We're going to go out to Las Vegas. Poolside, sitting there waiting for us is the Godfather. We got a soldier on the ground out there in Vegas. He's going to give us all the gambling insights that we need before the big game. So let's make way for our guest. This is Next Point Wins, and here he is, the Godfather, and he joins us now. Here we go. So a couple questions. One, I see that the spread currently is around Philly plus 4.5. Basically, just saying that if you bet on that, Philly's got to win by at least 4.5, right, for you to cover.
No, when it's plus, that means you can't lose by more than that.
Okay.
So the interesting thing on this one, I can repeat this when we go, but some places this line opened up New England -7, and it's been the Philly fans have bet it down to -4 or to -4.5, which is New England -4.5, which means Philly's plus 4.5. So when it's plus, that means you get the points. And the other thing is at South Point where we're at, they even have bet it down to now where it's -4. So the other thing that if you want to talk about it is not only do you bet the point spread, but there's a money line bet, right? So
right.
So you can bet you could bet you could bet New England where you got to bet 180 to win 100. They're -180, or you can take them getting the 4 points. But it's interesting that the money line, the real value on New England out here today, if you listen to the wise guys, is the real value is on the money line for New England because at -180. That's just a pretty good value. A lot of times when the casual bettors get out here, they like taking the money line where they can bet 100 to win like 320, like when it's plus 320. So I don't know exactly what Philly is today, but when they're plus something to where you bet 100 to win like 320, and there's actually been some stuff written up. There's the guy out here that runs this sports book out here. His name's Jimmy Vaccaro at the South Point. And back in 1990 when the Mirage opened up, he actually out of New York City was running the sports book at the Mirage. He's been out here probably over 40 years. But he was talking about how they had a couple of guys roll in and bet the money line on Philly.
Yeah, I'm seeing that the money line currently is Philly, looks like plus 154.
Plus 154 for Philly?
Yeah.
That means that's been bet down quite a bit because I'm sure it was plus 200 when it opened.
Right.
So that's a pretty big push. But yeah, they had some guys come in there even yesterday. He tweeted out that they were betting Philly and the Philly money line, and so when that happens, then they adjust the point spread from 4.5 to 4. New England, -4, and then they adjust the New England money line down from it was -190 or plus. -190 or 195, that was down to like 180 right now. So that's been kind of they're just getting a lot more Eagles money than I think they even anticipated. Has been a big shift out here.
Now, those opening lines, when those odds come out, is that a computer? Is that a person setting those?
Well, you've got, it used to be, it's people, but the people that put the lines out are using computers. And back in the day, there actually used to be a company out here that kind of helped put the first, that the casinos would pay them and to put the first lines out. But now between the offshore books and the Vegas books and everything that's out there, a lot of people just put their own out there, and a lot of times you'll see the offshore guys will put their lines out first, and then the Vegas guys kind of wait to see how people react to that. So that's why this game really came out about -7, I think, with some offshore books right after the championship games came out -7. Quickly bet down, and I think when these guys put it out in Vegas, a lot of them put it out around 5.5.
Huh.
Of course, now it's down to -4. So, but there is some conglomerates out here where you've got multiple casinos, like William Hill Sports Books and a bunch of different casinos. You got CT Technologies, I think it is, CG Technologies. They're the ones that are Westgate. Westgate's always been, that's the old Las Vegas Hilton. They were always kind of known as the ones that put the first lines out and were the biggest book. So there's a podcast out there. It's called the Dream Preview or something. And there's a guy named RJ Bell that's on Cowherd a lot.
Yeah.
On Fox a lot. He's got a podcast he puts out, and he brings in the VP of the sports book on Westgate, and then he brings this guy named Steve Fezzik in. That's he won the Super Contest twice, and he's one of the top NFL guys. And it's interesting, this Fezzik guy graduated from Northwestern in actuary, and this RJ Bell is Columbus in engineering, and so it's really all these math science guys that decided to do gambling for a living. And once they got good at themselves, then they start selling their picks and stuff like that. And this Fezzik guy is really known for prop bets. So even on a given Sunday, instead of just like betting the game and betting the over/under total,
Right.
He's big on first quarter. There's been some games where he put out -7, and that the total score between the two teams will be under 7.5 the first quarter. And sometimes it's like -130, which means you got to bet 130 to win 100. But I mean, every one of those he's done, he's been right on. Like Jacksonville, Buffalo, he was big on under first quarter and first half, and obviously those were way under. So he likes, there's a prop bet out here for the Super Bowl in the Las Vegas Hilton out there, Westgate, how they put out over 400 prop bets.
Yeah.
And he likes that there be more points scored in the third quarter than there will the first quarter, for example.
Huh.
There's just hundreds of prop bets you can do, which is why we came out here, because I like putting prop bets down and then sitting there watching them on Sunday.
Yeah. Speaking of watching, where's the best place out there, in your opinion, to watch a game from?
Well, one of the most popular is the Westgate, because they've got the most space and the most seats and the widest array of bets. But there's also about every casino will have a viewing party now. A lot of them are going to charge you $50 or $100 to sit there, and
Really?
And they'll supply wings and pizza and beer. But I'm a little bit partial to out here, a little bit off the strip at South Point. It's free for starters, and they open up, I don't know, like 3 of these big, huge ballrooms, and they've got a pretty good deal on buckets of beer, and the food is cheap and good, and then they got betting stations all over, so they'll put thousands, and I don't know, 10,000 people, I don't know how many, but they pack in this place. A couple years ago when I was out here, I couldn't believe the number of people that were in these rooms, but that's probably one of the better ones that I'd say the locals are really attracted to. It's off the strip, and the value's there. But people on the strip, a lot of times you just end up standing around the sports book area watching, because it's just tough to get a seat. So, if you want to pay for one of those parties that where you can sit there, that's good. But I'd say this one out here. But boy, those sports books really get jammed up come about kickoffs.
Yeah. Do you see like an increase in population in general around Vegas during this time of year in like March Madness?
Yeah, so they were talking here. I was looking at some tweets from the guy here at the South Point, and he said that it actually this past weekend. Of course, they put on scheduled some pretty good games. You had the Big 12 SEC Challenge, but I think that what they're trying to do is start getting people's interest back into college basketball. With the NFL basically being off of the Pro Bowl, they really put a pretty good slate out. And they had a lot more activity last weekend, especially on the college basketball, than they've had all season. But they said then probably starting tomorrow, you might see a little bit of an uptick, but really starting Thursday evening, he said the rooms will really start filling up out here, and that's when yeah, it's the biggest one-day sporting event from a total gambling handle.
Yeah.
They say March, the month of March, the March Madness, the month of it will generate close to the same amount of wagering that you get just on the Super Bowl. And the deal with March is you got championship weekend, which is kind of the beginning of college spring breaks there, early March. So you'll see a lot of folks out here, and today you might be able to fly out, depending on where you're at in the country, like from the Midwest, you might get a deal for even under $300 round trip, and you get to that first weekend of the tournament, you can't fly out of here and fly home anywhere for under $500 just one way, because it's the combination of the March Madness and the NCAA tournament. That first weekend is just it's just a tough ticket on the airlines because of those two things going on. It used to not be that way. It was more of a March Madness, but I think you've seen the college spring break crowd the last 8-10 years really start gravitating out here, and those two combined have made that first weekend tough. The next weekend they get more activity than the normal, but on the whole, college basketball and football doesn't really drive the activity like the NFL does. That's the big ticket out here, and that's what drives most of the people. You could be out here on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and Big Ten and them are kicking off, and you can find seats just about anywhere. NFL Sunday, by about 8 o'clock in the morning, you can't find a seat there. People are planted in, ready to go. So certainly March Madness brings more of a crowd, but nothing drives it like the NFL out here.
Do you think a part of that is because it's just harder to bet on college kids and college athletics, like to find odds and find tendencies?
Yeah, I think so. You got guys that'll play it all, but I just think that the NFL is, in the popularity, it continues to grow, and a lot of people think it's not only related to the gambling, but it's also the DraftKings and everything else that drives it. But yeah, I think as hard as the NFL is to bet, the volatility in the college makes it that much more difficult. I think you'll see more recreational gamblers out here on the weekends betting the college. You'll see a table full of Wisconsin people and a table full of Ohio State people. But I'll say the more professional gamblers or the heavy gamblers, they just come out here on Sunday and they really bet the parlay cards and the teasers in addition to the game. Just a much bigger overall handle.
You've been out to Vegas a couple times a year for a while now. Do you see a difference in the city now that the professional hockey team Golden Knights are out there?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody today, and she went to her first game the other night and commented on how easy it was to park and to get in, and really enjoyed the experience. Everything was very expensive, but I think the biggest change you see is that they charge you for parking now. A lot of these strip casinos, they charge you resort fees. I don't think the hockey has attracted as much as the Raiders will as it relates to people coming in either to see the Raiders or to see their favorite team.
Yeah.
I just don't know that the Blackhawk fans are coming in to watch the Blackhawks play the Golden Knights as much as the Bear fans will come in to watch them play Oakland when they play versus, again, that NFL. But so, I think it's actually it's a bigger local draw almost than getting these out-of-towners in. I'm sure there are some, coming in, especially Canadian teams and that. But from what I'm reading and talking to people and hearing, it's really the local support that's driven it. The fact that they're winning doesn't hurt. But I think I think the Raiders will have a bigger impact from how many people come to town on a home Raider weekend than you'll see with the Golden Knights. But they just those strip casinos and the blackjack used to pay 3-2 for the blackjacks. Now it's 6-5, and they just keep nickel and diming you. And so people that are out here for a weekend and once a year, it's staying on the strip's great. But if you're going to come out multiple times, unless you're one of those high rollers and play and probably lose a lot, some of these, I'll say, off the strip casinos just give you a better gamble, better food, and if you're going to come out multiple times, it just seems like a better way to go, just because the I don't say they're gouging, but they keep looking for ways. And it's tough. We used to drive down and park at the Mirage or somewhere and walk around, but who wants to pay $10-15 to park? It's just kind of turned a lot of locals off for sure. And then it's just they're corporations. They're looking for everything they can to make money. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, just looking up and down the list of like things you can bet on. I mean, national anthem over under 2 minutes, heads or tails on the coin toss. Like, are those type of bets stuff that like professional bettors stay away from, and it's more just for like the general audience, or do they get a lot of action on that kind of stuff?
They don't let you bet more than 1,000 on them, and so you'll get both. I think some of those bets you'll see are more the casual, but there's a lot of the this Fezzik I talk about. That's one of the better prop guys. He'll put out 20 plus prop bets. You can pay $50, and he'll give you his 15 to 20 prop bets he's going to make, and he's given a few out, like third quarter scoring more than first, and there's a few other things. But interesting that he said the other day on a podcast that back in the day, and I don't know if that's 10, 15 years ago or more, but because they do the coin flip so early on the Super Bowl, you could actually watch and see who got the coin, what the coin flip was, and then still go up and bet it. But I don't think it lets do that anymore. But it's interesting. These guys are always looking for angles. But
sure.
Now there's a lot of I'll say both are playing them. The thing that happens on them is as people bet them, you can sometimes you got to do minus 120, minus 130, which means you got to bet 120, 130 to win 100, or you got to bet 12 or 13 to win 10. It's just that math equation. But sometimes finding the ones that are plus 130, plus 140 is the way to go. Last year, on having an overtime, if you bet yes was plus 550, so you bet 100 to win 550. Now that was the first overtime in Super Bowl history.
Right.
So now you'll see action. I think a little bit by everybody. It's just kind of one of those one-time things that both the recreational and the pros come out to, from what I'm hearing.
Thanks for taking the time to come on today.
All right. Well.
All right.
Hopefully it goes well. We'll listen.
Sounds good. Have fun out there.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye. There he is, the Godfather, live poolside in Las Vegas. I appreciate him taking the time out of his day yesterday to come on and talk for the show about the ins and outs of Las Vegas and those prop bets. And after hearing his words of advice, I made a few predictions myself, obviously just for entertainment purposes only, because I do not bet on any of this. And to be honest, I don't really recommend any of you guys taking any of my advice, but just to have a little fun, we'll bring it back next week and see how I did. I'm going to take heads on the coin flip. I'm going to say national anthem over 2 minutes. I'm going to say Eagles full game points. I'm going to take that at minus 7.5 against the Patriots first half points. So I think the Eagles full game points will be 7.5 more at least than the Patriots first half points. Also, Gatorade dumped on the winning team. I'm going to say it's going to be blue because I have a feeling the Patriots are going to win the game. Pink's hair color, I'm pretty sure she's singing the national anthem. Her hair color, I'm going to take white/blonde for minus 300. And last but not least, I think the Patriots cover the spread and win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady adds another ring to that collection. I know the spread opened up around 6. Right now it's around 4. If it goes anywhere between 4 to 6 or even lower, I think Patriots cover. I got the Patriots winning this game 31-21. So I got the Patriots by 10 in this one. So there we go. Once again, thanks for taking the time, Godfather, to come on the show. We'll have him back on closer to March Madness time because I know that's that first weekend, which is one of the best weekends of sports, in my opinion. It's a top 3 weekend, top 3 sporting must-see TV. That first opening round of the March Madness when you got the whole field playing their games. I know that's a weekend during our spring break. So for anybody who's going out to Vegas for spring break, we'll have him back on to kind of give us some more insight on March Madness and places to go to watch games out there for the big tournament and the big dance. So we'll be sure to have him back on the show. Real quick recap of the Boilermakers, their nice win over IU in Bloomington. It's really simple. I can't make this any more simple. Isaac Haas was bigger, better, and stronger than the Hoosiers. He alone was just a dominant force down low. They had no answer for him. That being said, Johnson made some tough shots. Morgan's a good player. He made some tough shots. But in general, it's just one of those games that you're watching. You're like, this is going to – we're just hanging around. We never shoot well there. Calls don't always go our way there. But we played – that first half was one of the worst first halves of basketball we've played in this entire winning streak. And we're still, I think we were either down one or it was tied or we were up, maybe up one. It was right around even. And it's just like, that's a horrible half of basketball. And we're still right in this game. So I knew at some point we were going to put that pedal down. V was effective all game long. Matthias hit big shots when needed. PJ always, he's just a consistently quality good player. And he had a couple of really nice steals and defensive plays late in that game. Forced a couple nice turnovers. And last but not least, my guy, Carson Edwards, Boog threw one down. Oh man, was that good. That got me out of my seat. It was one of those things where I didn't want to look because it was so painful. I felt so bad for Newkirk. He threw it down on him. Oh, that was so awesome. Just flashbacks to the baptism of the masses, John Octius, and the way he threw it down on Hartman a few years ago. Baptism times 2, I guess, now, and we're just turning that entire roster into a viral video. I knew he had it in him. I did not think he was going to rise up like that, but once he got to about the free throw line, he started doing that progression that I've seen in practice and we've seen in games before where it's like he's about to load up to go up and try to throw one down, and boy, did he throw it down right on him. Tonight against Maryland, look for the Boilers to get off to a fast start. I don't see any worry in this game at all. Maryland's not a horrible team. They're not like we shouldn't look past them type of team. But in Mackey Arena, I expect us to come out and have a similar type performance that we did against Wisconsin. I think they're very similar opponents. Maryland probably a little better than Wisconsin. If we can limit the turnovers in the first half and get out to a strong start, it really should be a fun game for everybody. It's a Rocky night. So get out there, bring your canned food to get your free posters. The one of Isaac Haas, I'm definitely going to get a couple of those because I think the Isaac Haas Rocky poster is awesome. I'm sure the graphics team and the PR do such a good job in the video production of all these theme nights, and I can't wait to see the different clips and stuff that we throw out there for this game tonight. Should be a lot of fun. 8:30 start, get into Mackey, be loud, do your normal thing. It's best arena. And speaking of arenas, is anybody scared of Assembly Hall anymore? I was talking to Purdue fans before that game, and I was concerned. I was nervous because I know Indiana always plays tough against top 5 opponents in that godforsaken arena. So I was a little nervous about it, and it's just one of those games that, I fully expect us to have our hiccups as the season goes along, but that was one that I did not want to be a hiccup. So I was nervous, but I was talking to people, and everybody was acting like it was no big deal, like there's nothing to worry about at all, and it was shocking to me. Does Assembly Hall not scare anybody anymore? Is that because we've just been dominant there of late? When I think of going to Michigan State or going to Wisconsin or going to, trying to think of other places, Maryland has been tough. Michigan has been tough. Like, those places scare me more than Assembly Hall does. Maybe that'll change over the years, but right now, when I think of going on the road to play IU, I don't think any of us really get scared of it. I think that shows how times have changed. Everybody enjoy the Super Bowl, enjoy the game, enjoy Purdue basketball all weekend long and Purdue sports. If you're free Friday night, 7 o'clock, I'll be on the call. Purdue wrestling against Michigan State. You can find that on btn2go.com, BTN Plus. Students here on campus, that's free for you guys if you're hooked up to PAL. So go to btn2go.com, check me out. I'm on play-by-play for Purdue wrestling against Michigan State Friday night. And we'll be back next week with recap of the Super Bowl, plus much more Purdue hoops and everything in between. This has been Next Point Wins. Have a great day, everybody.